But I try to get on the good side of them. So, and we were doing really well, but it just seemed like we got our classes bigger and bigger, and it just seemed like that we couldn't get enough time in. And so we decided that one of the gals had a cabin up in the mountains, and she said, "I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's go." And she said, "If you just bring your own sheets," she said, "there's enough beds up there. If you just bring your own sheets and your pillowcases, or whatever you want." And then she said, "We've got everything up there. We got dishes. We got everything." So at our break, we talked it over, and we decided we was going to put a jar or a glass in the center of the table. If anybody mentioned the school, we had to put a dime in. If we forgot and talked about, and so we got along. Well, somebody had given the kids a goat, and so you would have faded. Or no, I was leaving, and the kids fed it in the evening. Wasn't that right? I fed it in the morning, and you fed it in the evening. I can't remember, but I think that was it. But I had a dog also, and so I tried to call him. I couldn't get him, so I thought, well, he wanted to be with the goat down here. So I thought, well, I'll do that. I can do that on the way. So I got the goat in the car and the dog in the car, and we started coming up here, and we got about so far, and once the goat saw the dog and the dog saw the goat, and I had the steering wheel like this, and the goat was down there, and the pup was up here. The pup knocked his head through the hole in the steering wheel and barked at the goat, and the goat was sitting on the footpeat, so he jumped back like that, and we took off like we just shot like a bullet, and we kept going and going, and I kept yelling, "Whoa, whoa, stop, stop!" Well, that was they just like sickened to him, so they just went on, and then I stopped, and I tried to kick him, and I couldn't kick him, and we went by here just doing. I don't know how fast we were going when we got here, because they started when we were way down there. And I kept yelling, and then I saw that was worth, so they thought I was saying sick 'em. So I took my feet and tried to kick. Well, then the goat turned on me, and then he rammed his head right through the hole and got the dog in the steering wheel, and I couldn't steer the wheel. And so we just kept chumming up here just as hard as we could come. And finally I just left it all. I said, "Okay, Lord, just protect me." We come zooming by here like you never saw. We never saw a car go so fast as we did here. And the dog was barking, and the goat was bumping, and they were in a fight in between my steering wheel. And we went off, and I saw that metal post coming, and we hit it right for it. It was right in my nose, and I yelled at them, and they pushed on farther, and we went across the ditch, turned over like this. This door plowed the ground on this side. The dog was up here, and the goat was on me. And I couldn't get my foot off because the rear end of the goat was on my feet. And I had my hand in the steering wheel like this, and I couldn't get my feet loose. I just prayed. We turned on our we just missed that ditch, the water in the ditch. He knows about that. I thought, how am I going to get out of here? And every time I'd push the door up, it'd come back. And up and back and up and back. So that made the dog mad because he thought the goat was hitting him. And then in the meantime, it hit me. And so we kept going. And finally, I yelled, and then I thought, "Lord, help me." I shut up because it was just making them mad. I couldn't get out because I had to raise both hands. And I finally got my foot loose off of the goat. And I got the door up like that. And that crazy dog got out just as calm, went to eating. And the goat did too, started eating grass, and the dog was just sitting there looking at me. What was I doing? Oh, I was so upset. I was shaking all over. And I thought, my car was a mess. And I thought, what do I do? So I walked back here. How far was it?
Not very far.
And so I came back, and I yelled to Charles, because I called him before to see if he wanted me to bring it up there. And I thought, well, I didn't hear from him. So he was irrigating. He'd irrigated all night, hadn't you? And so I came back, and I was shaking so that my voice was just not natural. And so I told him, and he just was getting in bed. He'd been irrigating all night, hadn't you? And so I said, "I had a little wreck." And he said, "Wreck? Where?" I said, "Down there." So he went and looked, and he said, "Where?" He went around. He saw it. He went over and looked at it. You tell him Tell them what you said.
Well, no, you're telling my insurance man the way you drive. You know my rates just went up.
Don't ever tell me to talk to an insurance man. Oh, dear.
Now you know it's going to cost me another $500.
Oh, dear. Well, see, my door locked. And of course, I couldn't open it because it was in the dirt anyway. Well, make a long story short, but this time my legs were going like this. I just, I was knocking knees. I was just really upset. So, anyway, he said, well, where is it? And I said, over there. And then he looked around and he said, where? And I said, over there. Oh, he went and looked at it. He came back and, I knew by the look of his face I was in trouble. Oh, he said, what'd you say?
I have no idea.
Oh, he said, we gotta get it. We gotta get it. And I said, can you drive it? He said, we'll have to pull it. So he got it, and you had a tractor, didn't you? And they pulled it up, right side up. And
Well, it didn't flip over. It was just in the ditch.
anyway, I was late to where I was going because they were waiting on me in town. I had sheets and I had food in the car. So I called Kathleen, so I wanted Charles to call insurance. And he said, no, I don't know what happened. He said, you got to tell insurance. Oh, please, you talk to him. No, you know what happened. I don't. So I called. And Johnson, was it Johnson? What insurance was it?
Probably Jackson.
Yeah, Johnson. And I said, Miss Johnson, she said yes. And I said, this is Esther Bartlett. I said, I had a wreck. And she said, what? She said, how come you do? Because she said, you're such a careful driver. And so I told her, I don't think it'll work. And she said, that bad? And she said, and I said, well, the kid was driving. I didn't think, I was thinking about the kid. And I said, well, the kid was driving. I couldn't help it. The kid was driving. Instead of the goat, I said the kid. And she said, oh, you're letting a kid drive? Well, I didn't know you let a kid drive. Oh. And I said, no, we didn't. The kid wasn't. Well, the kid was driving, but he wasn't driving. Well, it was a goat. And she said, are you all right? Do you drink? And I said, no. And I was just so embarrassed. And so finally we got the job done, and I was crying before we got through. And then later, she said, well, you have to go in the next day or so when I come back from the mountains. But then we had to tell, how did I get in town? Did I take your car then? Because my car wouldn't run at all. And then they came and got it, and they lifted it up on a hoist and put it. I never will forget how that car looked when they were putting it on the hoist to take it away. And so I had to call those ladies that were waiting on me. All this, so I called the ladies, and they said, oh, we wondered, because she said you were nearly always on time. So something had to be wrong. Well, we're coming out to see how bad your accident was. Oh, no. And so they came out, and they said, don't you worry. We have food. We'll have everything in our car, so don't you worry. I said, you might as well go on. Charles said, well, I'll be here. You might as well go on. So we went to the mountains, and we were to pay our fine and everything, But anyway, in the middle of the night, I jumped up from my bed and got in the middle of the night, and I said, stop it, just like that. And everybody wondered what I was doing, and I was so embarrassed. But then after that, I went to sleep. But then when we come back, he told me that I would have to tell the insurance. But I called him before, didn't I? But then I had to go in, and I had to sign all these papers. So I went in, and then they had an old office, and the people sat here. You come in, and the people sat here, and they had their drawers like this, so that they came in front and pulled the drawers out. But of course, the people were sitting quite a little ways back. But my record was in where that drawer was, and so she came in, and she saw me, and she burst into laughter, and she laughed, and she laughed, and then there was crowd in there, so she left. She just left. Pretty soon she came back again. She said, I'm sorry. She said, I'm not making fun of you, but I think that's the funniest thing. She said, there was one man that you have even beat him. He was drunk, though. She said, you don't drink, do you? And I said, no. And she said, well, this was the funniest one that they had had until this happened. And it's still on record, I suppose. But she said, he said he was driving along, and all at once else, that fence post just popped out of there and landed right in the middle of the road, and that's why he hit it. She said, your story beats anything I ever heard. Even that. Oh, I was so embarrassed. And she came and